So for our project domain, we picked history. And within history, our team picked 3 subdomains. So Canadian history, Mexican history, and American history. And for each of them, we did some data extraction and manipulation. So first, I'll show you for Canadian history. For Canadian history, I did CSV file. So if we go to scripts and we open for CSV, the data is stored in Kaggle. So I used the Kaggle API to connect to this database, which is the Canadian Disaster Database. To connect to Kaggle, I need to use the API. So if you go to Kaggle, you can create your own token here. If you create the new token, you'll download it and then you can move it to the correct directory so that Kaggle is able to authenticate the API. Then the data was demulated using Tabular, so we did that. And since it had a lot of columns, I'm selecting the ones that seemed interesting. So these are the columns that seemed interesting. Then I'm printing out a few rows of the data frame, the size of the data frame with df shape, and some missing columns using isNull_sum. And then after that, I am outputting the file as a CSV file into this output folder, Canadian history. So if we run this, we can see that the data frame has been printed, a few rows of the data frame, the size of the data set, some missing data per column. And if we go to the outputs folder and open Canadian history CSV, we can see that the data has been outputted. So that is using API to collect the CSV data from Kaggle. Then for Mexican history, we used Stack Exchange. So Stack Exchange has a lot of questions and answers that users have about a variety of things. And in particular, we use the history.stackexchange.com. This is the Stack Exchange form. Here's the title, and this is the question or the description of the title. And then these are some answers. So I used web scraping to get this information. So you go back to terminal, go to scripts. I'm going to open here. So here I'm using requests and Beautiful Soap to scrape the data from Stack Exchange. This function converts the URL to data. So it uses the gets method and the content of that response, and then parse it using an HTML parser from Beautiful Soap. Then I get the content of the data, so the title, the question, and the answers. And we notice that sometimes the answer is accepted as the best answer or the accepted answer, and that had a different class from the usual answer, which is answer JS-answer. So we had to account for that. And then we are saving that into a data frame, calling it df, and then outputting it as CSV file in the directory output/Mexican history. So if you go back here and run this, it displays the CSV file, and also it outputs the file in the output folder. Like this: title, questions, answer. You can also see it here. Maybe it's easier to see it here. We see the title, question, and answer. And for this particular question, there were 3 answers, so we're getting 3, like so. And finally, for the third subdomain, we are looking at American history. So for American history, I looked at the PDF. So if you go to data, this is a PDF file that I will be using. So there is a year and a description for each of these cells. So I'm going to attempt to get these information. So PDF So here I'm using a new library called PyPDF that basically reads a PDF and outputs the text. And the good thing about this library is it can look through multiple pages of PDF. So this PDF to text function, it reads in the path of where the PDF is located. And then it goes through each of the pages and extracts the text. And then joins the text and then returns it into a long list, a long string. Then we split it by this new line. And here I'm identifying which part of the PDF is the year and which part is the actual information. So I'm trying to convert the year. If this doesn't work, then it's just a line of text. But if it works, then it's going to append that year and the information for that year. And this merges everything into a list, then convert to a data frame and output as ushistory.csv. If we go back, so if you run it, and go back to output, and open the US history, we see the year and the description, which matches with the PDF.